In this example, we're looking at a cumulative frequency table. I've currently got only the frequency in this table, and it's looking at the marks that a set of pupils have achieved in a test. The first line tells us that 5 pupils scored 30, 7 pupils scored 31, 10 pupils scored 32, and 6 pupils scored 33. Now if I add in a cumulative frequency column, and remember that's keeping a running total. So at this point here we've looked at 5 pupils' results, they've got 30. By the time we get to 31, I've got the 5 people who've got 30 and I've got the 7 people who've got 31, so there's 12 people who've got 31 or under. Next column, I've got 10 people who've got 32, so my cumulative frequency is at this point is 22. Then I've got another 6, so I end up with 28. One of the important things about the cumulative frequency column is this last number. This tells us the number of people who actually took part, or the number of pieces of data. In this case it's people's scores. So there were 28 pieces of data. Now along the bottom here I've actually listed the data, and that would have been just the list of scores before they were put into the table. When you're looking at a cumulative frequency table problem, you would never write the numbers out like that. This is purely for illustration to help you understand what we're doing. Now the first thing I'm going to be asked to do here is to find the median. Now remember, the median is the middle number when they're all placed in order. And if I had a list, if I was looking at the list down here, I would count how in and I would draw a line in the middle. So for illustration we'll just do that down here. So there are 28 pieces of data altogether, so I'm going to count along 14 and I'm going to find the middle. So you can see the middle is right in between because it's an even number of pieces of data I've got, so there's not actually a middle number. But both numbers either side of the middle are 32, so my median is 32. The way that I use my cumulative frequency table to find this instead of the list is again I look for the 14th number. I know the first 5 numbers are 30, first 12 numbers by the time I get to 31, and the 13th number to the 22nd number are all 32. So my 14th and 15th numbers that I'm looking for all fall inside this category here. So the median is 32. Next thing I'm going to be asked to do is find the upper and lower quartiles. And remember, quartile 1 is effectively the median of the lower half of the data. So it's the middle of this bunch of data here. And remember, I've split my 28 in half, so I've got 14 bits of data here. So if I want to split that in half to find the median, I'm going to count along to my 7th number. And I'm going to do the same in the frequency table, because rather than doing it as a list, I want to use the table. So what I've done at this point, I'll just put a little calculation at the side. Remember what our quartiles are doing, they're splitting this data list into 4 pieces. So I'm going to say my n divided by 4, which is my 28 divided by 4, is giving me 7. So I'm cutting my data into chunks of 7, and I'm going to find my quartiles at that point. So I'm going to find quartile 1 between 7 and 8. So let's look for that in the cumulative frequency column. This only gets to 5. The 6th to 12th numbers all fall in here. So my 7th and 8ths are all in here, so 31 is quartile 1. Quartile 3, which remember is the median of the top section of data. So at this point I was at my 14th, I add another 7, which gets me to 21. my 21st and 22nd piece of data will tell me quartile 3. So I'm going to look down my cumulative frequency. My 21st and 22nd pieces of data are 32, so my quartile 3 is 32. The last thing I'll get asked in this case is my interquartile range, which is quartile 3 take away quartile 1, which in this case is 32 take away 31, which is 1. I could also be asked for the semi-interquartile range. Now statistically this is a better range to use, which is why we often use this number instead. And that's just simply the interquartile range divided by 2. So in our case it's going to be 1 over 2 or a half. Now when we did it in class we did it with cumulative frequency graphs. Here we're just using the cumulative frequency table. So you need to remember in your head what it is we're doing. We're splitting this list of numbers into 4 even pieces and we're trying to identify the numbers at each quartile. Okay, hope this helps.